chemicals are very, very important. Some of these calcium-dependent chemicals include, some of the roles for these calcium-dependent chemicals include contracting muscle, building bone, making your heart pump, making your brain work. These chemicals are important for keeping your blood clean. These calcium-activated chemicals or calcium-dependent chemicals have little hooks that trap calcium. And without these calcium-trapping hooks, they're as helpless as a fisherman would be with a fishing pole without his hook. A fishing pole without a hook isn't going to catch much fish, and if these chemicals don't have their hooks, they're not going to catch much calcium, and they're not going to be able to do their work. No hooks on these little chemicals means these chemicals are going without calcium. No calcium on these chemicals, and these chemicals are essentially neutral. These are chemicals that contract our muscles. That means without hooks, muscle contraction suffers. Without hooks, heart health suffers. Without hooks, blood doesn't get cleaned. In fact, almost everything a cell does, whether it's making muscle fibers, whether it's contracting the heart, whether it's firing as a nerve cell, everything a cell needs, almost everything a cell needs, is somehow related to these chemical hooks and the ability of these chemicals to catch or trap calcium. Without these hooks, no matter how much protein you're eating, no matter how many supplements you're taking, no matter how many hours in the gym you're spending, you will still not be maximally healthy, and you'll still be running higher risks for cancer, heart disease, and all the things we die from. Muscles won't contract, the heart won't pump effectively, your bones will be weaker, and you'll be at higher risk for every chronic degenerative disease you can name. Heart disease, brain disease, nerve disease, muscle pathology, osteoporosis. All of these are associated with hookless, calcium-dependent chemicals that can't trap calcium, that can't catch or fish for calcium. So you think these hooks are important? You better believe they are. Even worse, without these hooks, calcium will begin to float around. Without these hooks, these calcium-dependent chemicals can't trap calcium, and now calcium is going to start to accumulate, especially if you're taking calcium supplements or eating lots of dairy or some other calcium-containing food. Without these hooks, these chemicals can't trap calcium. Calcium will start to accumulate. It will start to build up in the blood. When it builds up in the blood, it can leak out into the tissues. Calcium floating around in the blood can initiate clots and plaques. It can clog up soft tissues in the heart and the brain and the kidney. It can cause kidney stones. Does this sound like these hooks are something that you want to know about? You think it would be a good idea to do everything you could do to help your body make these hooks for these chemicals, for these calcium-dependent chemicals? Do you think it's important to help your body make these hooks? By the way, these chemicals, these calcium-dependent chemicals are all proteins. They're called calcium-dependent proteins. And what if I told you that the key element for making these hooks that trap calcium, that allow these calcium-dependent proteins to do their work, contracting muscle and firing nerve cells and cleaning the blood? What if I told you that all you had to do was take a vitamin to help make these hooks? What if I told you that these hooks were dependent on a vitamin? You think you'd want to take that vitamin? You think you'd want to know about that vitamin? Well, guess what? These hooks are dependent on a vitamin. And taking this simple vitamin can help your body make hooks, which will help your muscles contract and clean your blood too. Hang tight. We'll finish this up when we come back from a break. And take your phone calls as well. We're back on the bright side. Thank you for joining us, friends. I am Pharmacist Ben. We're here Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific, 10 to 11 Central Time. We're talking about vitamin K and its importance for osteoporosis, but its importance for anti-aging. In fact, more and more we're understanding that vitamin K is the premier anti-aging vitamin, and in large part this has to do with the fact that vitamin K helps calcium-dependent chemicals, they're proteins, so they're called calcium-dependent proteins, make little hooks. And with these hooks, calcium-dependent proteins can hook onto calcium and do their work. These proteins that help contract muscle, help your heart work, help your brain work, help everything work, really. These calcium-dependent proteins are activated by calcium. They trap calcium with these little hooks, and it's vitamin K that helps make the hooks. And this is one of the reasons why vitamin K is so darn important when it comes to calcium metabolism, especially to clearing the blood. Today we're understanding that many of the signs, in fact, most of the signs of aging have to do with defects in calcium metabolism, and vitamin K is one of calcium and calcium-dependent proteins' best friends. We will continue this discussion tomorrow, and then we'll tell you how you can get vitamin K in your system, and then we'll move on to our next anabolic building and bone building nutrient. Our next anabolic and bone building substance is going to be real important. We'll probably be spending a lot of time on that, and that is going to be protein, the importance of dietary protein as well as supplemental protein. We'll do that as we continue talking about anti-aging strategies, bone building strategies, and bodybuilding strategies on the bright side. Our number is 855-660-4261, 855-660-4261. Got a couple lines open for you. Let's take our first phone call of the day. Daniel in California. What's up? Welcome to the bright side.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Ben Fuchs.
Yes, sir.
I've been having a little bit of problems with the BTT. I did a little plan where I was having loose stools and my pee was a little too yellow, so I cut off a little bit of the supplements. I kind of went cold turkey on them. Now I figured out that the BTT is causing me to have my urine to be a little too yellow.
Yeah.
And a little bit of loose stool. What should I do?
A couple things about that. I'm glad you called because I was supposed to talk about BTT and the mercury and all the stuff in there, and I'm glad you brought that up. So let me answer your question, then we'll talk a little bit about the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, which is one of my all-time favorite nutritional supplement products. First of all, there's nothing wrong with orange urine. That's just the sign that your body's excreting riboflavin. Riboflavin is vitamin B2, and it means, literally, riboflavin means yellow body, and riboflavin is what gives the B complex a certain orange-yellow color. And when you're doing the B complex, you'll find that you're peeing yellow. You're peeing orange. You're peeing out riboflavin. It'll either be like a dark yellow or an orangish color. Not a big deal. All it means is that your body's excreting the riboflavin after it's been used, or riboflavin that it's not using. So don't worry about the color of your urine. That's not a big deal. What is an issue, however, is the loose stools. That's a sign that you're not absorbing minerals. I know I've said this before, so please bear with me for you guys who've heard me say this, because we do have a lot of new listeners, and Daniel probably hasn't heard this. So here's the deal, Daniel. When you take in minerals, especially high, dense concentrations of minerals like you're getting in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, they go through your stomach, and then they go into your small intestine, and that's where they're absorbed. Minerals are absorbed in the small intestine. If those minerals are not absorbed in the small intestine, they will continue their journey through the body, and they will end up in the large intestine, which is connected to the small intestine. At this point, as they're moving downwards into the large intestine, they are going to pull water with them. This is the body's attempt to dilute the minerals, number one, and minerals in general have this effect on water. Minerals suck up water. That's why municipalities will sprinkle minerals on top of ice to melt the ice. Minerals absorb water. It's just one of the chemical properties that minerals have. So as these minerals are passing through your small intestine, if they're not absorbed, that's the key point right there, Daniel. If those minerals are not absorbed, they'll continue through the large intestine. Water will be attracted to those minerals, like iron filings are attracted to a magnet. You'll get this combination of water and minerals in the small large intestine. Your stools will become watery, and you'll experience loose stools or diarrhea. Does that make sense, Daniel?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's very important, because what it tells me is you're not absorbing minerals. And this is very important when it comes to general health and wellness, and it's very important when it comes to anti-aging, and what's very important when it comes to longevity. If you're not absorbing your minerals out of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, that means you're not absorbing minerals, period. That means you're not absorbing minerals if you're taking supplements. That means you're not absorbing minerals if you're using food. That means you're not getting minerals in the blood and in the body, and that is a big, big problem. Minerals are even more important than vitamins, even more important than macronutrients. Minerals are fundamental to life, and if you're not absorbing your minerals, which is what that's saying when you have the loose stools, you are in big trouble and you're running risks for all kinds of horrible degenerative diseases. So here's what you want to do. First of all, you want to sip on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. That's the first step. You want to take it into your system in as slow a fashion as possible. In fact, you should always be sipping on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. I know a lot of you guys are putting it right in your smoothies, or doing gulping it right, putting a scoop in water and gulping it on down. It's much better to do your Beyond Tangy Tangerine slowly and throughout the day, even if you don't have absorption problems, but especially if you're experiencing loose stools. Secondly, you want to use your Beyond Tangy Tangerine you try to take your Beyond Tangy Tangerine while you have a little bit of food in your stomach, first of all, and you want to make sure that you're practicing all of the absorption techniques that we talk about. For example, stomach acid is very important for the absorption of minerals. If you're not making enough stomach acid, and many people are not, you are very likely going to start to experience problems with absorption, with mineral absorption. So make sure you're using things like apple cider vinegar. Make sure you're using your digestive enzymes. Make sure that you're using digestive apple cider vinegar with your digestive enzymes after meals to activate the digestive enzymes. You can actually get something called hydrochloric acid drops. You have to have a pharmacist make that for you, and you need a prescription, but it can help acidify the stomach. You can use something called betaine HCl. You'll find betaine HCl in the Ultimate Enzymes from Longevity. You can also buy extra betaine HCl. And then there's the whole relationship of bile and the liver to absorption of minerals. Many people do not recognize this. Many physicians do not recognize the importance of the bile system, the gallbladder, and the liver for the absorption of minerals. If you have any liver problems, if you've had your gallbladder removed, if you're not making enough bile, all of these will cause problems with the absorption of minerals. And once again, minerals are likely to pass through the small intestine into the large intestine. The pancreas is also involved. So if you have any kind of pancreatic issues, if you're a diabetic, if you have pancreatitis, if you have even mild pancreatic compromise, once again, this is going to affect how well minerals are absorbed. So you can use pancreatic enzymes, you can use sodium bicarbonate, maybe a teaspoon in water a couple hours after meals. You never want to take your sodium bicarbonate with meals because that will neutralize stomach acid, but maybe a couple hours after meals. Use lecithin, which is almost like a bile replacement. If you have anybody who's dealing with gallbladder problems, by the way, make sure that you're using lecithin. The chemical component of lecithin is very similar to bile. Let's see what else you can do. You can actually take bile salts. You can actually buy bile salts. If you're using the Ultimate Enzymes, you'll get bile in the Ultimate Enzymes. Hang tight, Daniel. I've got a couple more things I want to tell you, okay? You're listening to The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. If you're on hold, stay there. If you would like to give us a shout, we do have a couple lines open, 855-660-42. We're back on The Bright Side talking to Daniel in California. Daniel, you there, my man?
Yep.
Okay, so here's the deal, Daniel. The loose stools are very concerning because that tells me you're not absorbing minerals, okay? And that means you want to start doing everything you could do to increase the absorption of minerals. If you're not absorbing minerals out of the BTT, you're probably not absorbing them out of food, and none of that is good. How old are you?
I'm 20, but this loose stools only happened yesterday, so yeah.
Okay, you're 20?
Yeah, 20.
And no other, you're in good health otherwise? Nothing else going on?
Yeah, well, I remember, I don't know if you remember, but I called you a couple months ago with varicose veins and...
okay, yeah, no. Oh, you're the guy that was in Mexico, that was living in Mexico? Is that you?
Yeah, now I'm good. Yeah.
How you feeling? How's everything working?
Well, left side is grade 1, and right side there's nothing. I think it got better.
Good deal. You didn't tell me that. That's awesome. Well, continue on, Daniel, because there's other stuff going on in your body, and you're only 20 years old, so that's not a good sign. Focus on everything I just said about mineral absorption, but here's what I wanted to tell you. If you're not absorbing minerals because you have some kind of a fat malabsorption issue, bile issue, liver issue, maybe a pancreas or stomach acid issue, that means you're not going to absorb fatty vitamins vitamins either, and that could cause big problems, in addition to the mineral malabsorption. So really focus on fat absorption, improving fat absorption. That's so important for you, my friend. And the varicose veins, all of this is forming a picture of something wrong inside your body. Focus on fat absorption in terms of getting minerals into your system, and focus on fat absorption in terms of the fatty vitamins. You may also want to start supplementing with 400 international units of vitamin E, 20,000 international units a day of vitamin A, 5,000 international units a day of vitamin D, although D is best obtained from the sun, and 5,000 micrograms a day of vitamin K2. Hang tight, listen up tomorrow, I should tell you, and then also Wednesday we'll talk about vitamin K and how you can get more of it in your system, but you're running high risks for malabsorption of all of these vitamins in addition to the mineral problem. All right, Daniel, hope we helped you out, buddy. Got